Hello my little flaming hot Cheetos. Today I'm going to show you how to build Bushy blocks. Trademark pending. I have created a series of shaped blocks that we're going to connect, and you're going to first make those blocks, and then you're going to construct for me a structure. In this case, an animal of some kind. I have made a bird. Your grade is going to be based on the complexity of your design, and the complexity of your design will be heavily dependent on how many of these shapes you're willing to make. If I were you, I recommend 8 of each. I mean, that's on the upper limits. 4 of each would probably be the bare minimum. This one has 6 rounds, 4 squares, and 6 triangles. But that's just one example of something you can do with these bushy blocks. Trademark pending. To make your bushy blocks, trademark pending, you're going to need the following materials. A mark making tool, a pair of scissors, something that'll cut through cardboard, a ruler, and the ring from a mason jar. You'll also need, of course, cardboard. You can use this sort of cardboard. It's not corrugated. Corrugated means that it has these zigzaggy spaces in it. So any type of cardboard or mat board. These are basic building block shapes. Here we have a square, an equilateral triangle, and a circle. And these are the things I'm going to show you how to make. 3 inches by 3 inches is a good size for these blocks. Making a square is easy as long as you have a ruler. I've already cut this strip to 3 inches long. 3 inches. 3 inches. A square. The circle, we're going to use a shortcut. We're going to use a tracing template. Here I have the ring from a standard mason jar lid. Not a wide mouth, a standard mason jar lid. This is actually a 3-inch diameter. So I'm going to just trace. Bada bing, bada boom. Circle. For this equilateral triangle, the base is 3 inches. The height of the triangle is not going to be 3 inches because each one of these sides is also 3 inches. So if you have 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches, it shortens this height. So that height is actually 2 inches and 3/4. That is a rounding up of the actual number, but we won't get into that. Half of the base is 1.5. Keep that in mind. That's going to be important in just a moment. Not only am I going to measure the 3 inches, but I'm also going to divide that halfway point. Go 1.5. Right there is a square. I'm going to measure 2 3/4 and 2 3/4. That is actually going to be the height. That's going to be the 3 corners of the triangle. An equilateral triangle. All 3 sides are 3 inches long. The hard part is done. Now I'm going to cut tabs in. Maybe 3/4 of an inch. And you don't want to overcut these ones. If you met at the middle, you'd cut that into thirds, and that would not be good. In the circle, I'm going to cut one side, then I'm going to go to the opposite side. And then I'm going to split that difference. Once I've cut those tabs, you can fit these shapes together. Interlocking pieces. From there, you can make any design you want. I have here stacks of my 3 different shaped bushy blocks. Trademark pending. I have more than enough to do the bird that I showed you at the very beginning of the video. I'm going to start with a square, and I'm going to start making the wings by interlocking. Sometimes they go in easy, sometimes you have to work at it a little. That is my wings going straight across. There it is from the front with all the circles. There it is from the top and or bottom with all the squares and the triangles. Put the tail going back. So I'm taking another circle, lodging it in there, taking another square, heading back. Then I took a triangle and I put it in facing forward. So it's not interlocking tabs, it's just the point of the triangle in that tab. It gives me that tail feather look that I was going for. The head on the opposite side is going to be just a triangle locked in, bunch of triangles, and I just made feathers on the wings going backward. The wings now have feathers coming back, the tail, and the beak Obviously, when you're using such rudimentary shapes, you're not going to get a full range of detail in your design, but this is an example of either a humanoid or a bear. It has a torso with legs and feet, arms, and a head. I'll give you a bit of a roundabout view. 2 squares in this, 9 circles, and there are 4 triangles in this design. The last design I'm going to show you, actual size iguana. This one uses 10 triangles, 10 circles, and 10 squares. The body's made up of circles and squares. The head is made up of circles and triangles. The legs are made up of triangles and squares. And the tail is also made up of triangles and squares. Once you add those equilateral triangles, more interesting things happen. 3 basic shapes, equilateral triangles, circles, and squares, that we then repeat and use to make a whole bunch of different shapes. If you make enough of these shapes and you're willing to put the time and thought in, you can create virtually any shape. I'm asking you to use a minimum 12 shapes, that's 4 triangles, 4 squares, and 4 circles, but I encourage you to push that further. Have fun with it. Trademark pending.